So guys, welcome to this YouTube video. I thought I would bring on a 3-month mentorship student of mine and good friend, Brad Riley. Now Brad Riley and I started working together in around October or so. At the time of recording this has just turned February. And holy shit, has he come a long way. Now, Brad, a year ago, I think, at this point, you were working at Cooperative or Sainsbury's?
Yeah, just stacking shelves, bro. Just a normal minimum wage job, and I was a uni student as well. Since dropped out, but yeah.
So uni, working at Sainsbury's, stacking shelves, and then a year later, how much do you think you're gonna do? How much do you do in January, roughly?
About 10 in January,
including the launch and stuff like that.
Yeah, probably maybe closer to 12 in January. And then in February, I'll probably do closer to 15 to maybe 20, depending on how well it goes.
Okay, pounds. So that's pounds. All right, so roughly $20,000. So a year later, went from $0 to $20,000, which is quite crazy.
Yeah.
Obviously, we worked together very, very closely for 3 months, and I've literally seen him when we first started. He was on $3,500 a month, thereabouts.
Something about that, yeah.
Going up to roughly $20,000 this month. Probably even more than that. So he's come a long way, and I thought he had a lot of cool insights that he could share with you. And that's why I just kind of wanted to bring him on here to pick his brain. So first of all, could you tell him a little bit, give him a bit more context about you and your income streams and your online businesses?
Yeah, of course. So like you said, 12 months ago, I was just working a dead-end job, stacking shelves, minimum wage. And I was always someone that I've always wanted to own a business, but I never really had the idea. I was always one of those guys that was like, right, I'm going to start the next Facebook. I wanted to start this next app, and I always put it off. Like, I knew it was never going to happen, but like I couldn't breathe in my job. I was miserable. I was literally, probably about 12 months ago to the date, I remember me and my girlfriend sitting and actually crying to each other because we couldn't afford food or anything. Literally, not in a great place, right? And I stumbled across social media marketing and started to take that really seriously. So my first sort of thing that broke me out of the 9-to-5 and university was finding social media marketing. But I actually did it a lot different to most people. I know a lot of people, cold call, they go door to door, they run, paid ads and lead gen funnels and all that type of stuff. I did it completely different, actually. I actually went down the freelance route and started to get clients for social media management. And a lot lower tickets. So, an average client for you is what, maybe like 5K a month, something around that.
Yeah.
For me, an average client's 500 a month. But the way that I stumbled upon getting clients, I was able to, scale that up very quickly. And within the space of 24 hours of actually finding out about the freelance website Upwork, I actually landed my first client. So I realized how easy it was to actually sort of, because before I was making about £1,000 a month, working 40 hours, and all of a sudden I'd made £500 overnight doing something that I love, like working from home. So I scaled that up really quickly in the first month. I say really quickly, but I scaled it up to about £3,000 a month, so about $4,000 a month within the first 2 to 3 weeks of doing that. Straight away, because I was so desperate, the first thing I did was quit my job, quit university. Couldn't wait to get out, and I just literally jumped head in with it because I was like, I can't breathe in here. I've got to make this work. But it scaled pretty quickly. But because I was doing all of the work myself, I sort of plateaued them for the next 6 months. My business grew a little bit, a couple hundred a month here and there. Then I lost a client, and I sort of plateaued around the same rate up until October when we spoke. Then, we went through all your coaching, and we spoke about automation and outsourcing and all that stuff. And then I started to outsource my business. At this point, I was still only doing social media management. I started to outsource my business, and like we said before, my business was I went from zero up to like this, sort of plateaued along here for a few months, going up and down. And then I started to outsource my business, so my costs went down a little bit. And then because I had all the free time to then focus on getting new clients, my business then shot up. And at the same time of doing that, I actually, as well, because of the free time, I started my personal brand, started teaching people how I get clients, my way of doing it as opposed to the normal way. Started offering coaching services, just recently released a course, and now everything is sort of fell into the place over the last couple of months, and everything sort of just together joint is just skyrocketed. And I think that's come from mainly the outsourcing and of course working together with you. So
So look, I mean, for someone to go from, there's a big paradigm shift for someone to go from stocking shelves to 3,000 a month, right? But then you kind of plateaued for 6 months until
Yeah.
you shot up again. Now, what
Yeah.
were some of the, before we get into like the nitty gritty, the tactical, what were some of the mental shifts or the day-to-day lifestyle shifts or the discipline or the habit shifts that you had to make
Yeah.
to go from, $3,500 to $20,000 in
Of course.
90 days?
Yeah, so, well, firstly, like to get from 0 to 3,000 it's quite mad for me because I've only ever worked, like the only job I ever had when I was at uni, even before when I was at college and stuff like that, I used to work at Co-op. It was the only place I've ever known. And I think I was on like £6 an hour. So for me, I always used to like be really tight with my money because I used to hate my job so much. If I was to spend something that cost £10, I'd be like, oh, well, that's over an hour's work. And because I hated my job, I'd be like, is it worth an hour like stacking shelves to buy this? So for me, like when I started earning money from the comfort of my own home, and I can wake up at 6 a.m. and work, or I could go to bed at 6 a.m. and wake up at 2 in the afternoon and work because I had no commitment. One of the big shifts I had to make was actually sort of like my perception of money, because before it was just like such scarcity mindset, like, oh, I can't spend this because I'm working for my time, and this is so like £20-30 was a lot of money for me. It was almost a whole day's work. So one of the shifts was like how I spent money, and my perception of money changed massively because money became like a tool for me to get more success. Like, well, especially when I started outsourcing, I wouldn't ever mind outsourcing because it gave me more free time. In the beginning, I was spending money. I'd never outsource anything because I had the scarcity mindset of this is costing too much and etc. So from 0 to 3K a month, that was a big change. And then from 3K up into this month now, it honestly is valuing time more so than money, because right in the beginning I would have taken on any client. I would have been like, 500 a month, 600 a month, I'll do whatever you want for you. Like, let's just give me the money, because I was so new to it. Whereas now I'm a lot more picky with who I work with. Like, if I think a client's going to be a nightmare or they're going to take up too much of my time and want to hop on the phone all the time, I don't care how much they pay me. For me, I value the passive income style of it. I value my time more so than money now. So that's one big change for me. If you have more time, you can start other ventures. You can go and travel. You can spend more time with your friends, with your family. You can, for me, it was starting a personal brand. So that's now like a big second stream of income as well. And it's a lot more fulfilling, and I'm a lot more happier now. Not just because of the money, but more so just because of the time it allows me to have.
Mm-hmm. All right. So that's, it's very, let's touch a bit more about the personal brand, touch a bit more on about the personal brand, because look, obviously your agency, let's say like this month, your agency will do like how much?
This month, the thing is, I got so many new clients in January that I haven't really added them up to see what it's going to be. I think I don't even know. It could be 10 to 15, maybe at least over 10, but maybe closer to 15.
Okay, so that's pounds, right?
Pounds, yeah.
Okay, so that's roughly like $14,000, right? So you've got a $14,000 a month business, with you're sitting in your bedroom, I presume, or you're not, you don't have big offices, you don't have tons of employees. This is you alone pulling in $14,000 a month. So why how do you go ahead and make that decision and transition into that personal brand, where this month from your personal brand you're going to make roughly?
I've literally just released my course. It's hard to know how well the course sales go and the coaching, but probably I'd hope over 5K would be a good
over 5K pounds.
Over 5K pounds, yeah.
Okay, so let's just say that's roughly $7,000, right? So now you've got the second stream of income coming in. What made you decide to? Because for a lot of people it can be a scary thing, sharing your story with the world, sharing your journey, whether you're doing good, well, fucking terrible, amazing. Yeah. So what made you decide to actually go ahead and share that journey?
Well, for me, it was always social media marketing. As much as I love it, and it's literally the best. Like, there is no better business model to get started. You need no upfront cost. It just comes down to you going out and getting clients, and it's literally the best business model to get started. But for me, it was always like sort of like a means to an end. Because before I started to learn more about business, I had another YouTube channel where I would just like do the normal stuff, right? Just vlogging when I went on holiday and just normal like reaction videos, all that stuff, right? Just because I loved the whole idea of building a personal brand. I was very familiar with like influencers, and I always liked the idea of having a big influence and be able to teach people and change lives. That's always something I've really wanted. So if I had it my way, I would have, like, from day one, I just would have become like an influencer and sold courses and helped people and all this stuff from the day one. But for me, I couldn't have done that. I had nothing to share, right? As soon as I started up my social media marketing business, and especially because the way I get clients is so different, I got a lot of people asking me questions, asking for coaching, even with a very small, sub count, and I don't have loads of, viewers and things like that. I had a lot of interest just because of how different it was. So for me, the social media marketing business was fantastic to start. It got me off the ground initially. It boosted my confidence. I learned so much about business. I started to earn good money. To me, it was always a means to end, because I've always wanted to have a personal brand. Like, the second I had an opportunity to be able to monetize that for me and do that full time, that's always what I wanted to do. So like I said, it was always a means to an end, social media marketing. As soon as I got people asking for how do I do things, and as soon as I started offering coaching, for me, it's a lot more fulfilling. I really want to help and change as many lives as possible. And like I said, with social media marketing, the only problem with it is sometimes is that you do work for your clients. With a personal brand, it's completely your choice. You are 100% your boss. It leads to, if you want to go to speaking engagements, if you want to do affiliate marketing, if you want to release digital products, if you want to do coaching and generally help people, if you just have a message to share and you want to reach a lot of people quickly, a personal brand can do that. So it was always on the cards for me. There was never a transition moment as to where I was like, I should probably start doing this. Like, the second I had the opportunity to, I was ready to go, jump headfirst into it.
Mm-hmm. And what do you, for someone building a personal brand, obviously, we did 3 months together in our mentorship. Yep. You're an Influencer Ignite student. Everything in six-figure SMA has just been it was violently drilled into you over a 90-day window. Yeah. And I mean, the cool thing is, you're the proof, literally going from 3,500 to this month, hopefully roughly $20,000 or so. To do that in 3.5 months or so is crazy. Now, a lot of people are trying to build their personal brand. A lot of people are not building their personal brand. What would be your biggest tip for someone who's trying to grow their personal brand, who, say, hasn't taken Influencer Ignite, for example, doesn't know our sort of methodology?
Mm-hmm. I think the first thing I will say to anyone is, a lot of people say you can become an influencer by doing blogging, you can become an influencer by doing this, and yes, you can. But in my opinion, if you're scared of just getting in front of the camera, you just need to just do it. Your first video is always going to be your worst, right? 100%. It's only going to get better from there. I remember I said that I had another YouTube channel before, right? I built up something like 17,000 subscribers on that channel, and the thing is, that's in one sort of like the butterfly effect. If I never did that back then, it never would have led to now, funnily enough, although they're completely disconnected. But just having that confidence and get in front of a camera, it helps in so many ways. Like even if it's just confidence levels or learning how to speak to an audience, these are all things that you learn from actually doing it. And my first video back in the day, I think it was like a Fallout 4 video. I literally played a video game and did a voiceover to it, and it was the most awkward video. Honestly, I look back at it and I'm cringing so hard. But the thing is, that's led to now. So the first thing would be just get in front of the camera. It might be terrible, your first video. The chances are it probably will be, right? But also at the same time, no one will probably see your first video. So just put it out there. And then your second video, learn from your mistakes and put that out there. The third one, you're going to get better and more consistent. And the second thing I would say is have a message, because for me, I like to speak about business and social media. And before, I was just like a vlogger, right? So I would just vlog about my life and everything. When I had that channel, I made in a year and a half, even with 17,000 subscribers, I would have done anything to monetize it, because I was just trying to break out. This is before I had my business, and I made $50 in a year and a half. That's not per month or anything. That's literally in a year and a half of grinding every day. I uploaded 500 videos in a year and a half, so that's more than a video a day. I literally hustled hard, and I made enough for one food shop in a year and a half. Whereas now, because I've got something I speak about, I've got a niche. Whether you're into fitness or whether you're into sewing, it doesn't matter what it is. For me, it's business and social media marketing. From having that niche and building an audience around that means that people are interested in what I've got to say. And if I release a product on social media marketing, because my audience are really interested in that, they'll buy the information because it's valuable, it's what they're interested in. Whereas as a vlogger, like I actually released some like sort of like merch, and I had 17,000 subs and 2 people bought it, and I didn't even reach the threshold to get paid. So it's not about how many numbers you have, it's more about like the quality of followers you have. So I recommend having a niche, and if you're too scared to put a video out, just overcome those fears, and honestly just do it.
Okay, so what's one thing you wish you would have, if you were speaking to yourself a year ago, what would you have told yourself?
The first thing I would have said to myself is just like, because I was so obsessed with the numbers game. It was, for me, it was like, oh, how many subs can I get? How many, like, oh, all these new subs. And I looked at the numbers and the sub count as opposed to actually who was watching me. So don't focus so much on the numbers. Focus like who they are, because you could have 10,000 people watching you, but like 0 buyers like I had. Or you could have 300 people watching you with like 50 of them being buyers. So if you're looking to monetize your personal brand, which I think is very important, if you want to build a career around your passion, a personal brand is one of the best ways to do that, because this day and age you can talk about anything and make money from it. So just focus on the quality of your followers, engage with them, interact with them, speak to them, build up relationships, build rapport with them, and speak about stuff that they're generally interested in, and have a niche. That's what I would have told myself 12 months on. Just niche down into business, or even if it back then, I lost a lot of weight a couple of years ago, and I was really into health and fitness. I lost like over 4 to 5 stone, and back then I could have easily niched down into fitness, shared my story of weight loss, and tried to monetize that more than just being a general vlogger and making $50 in 18 months. It's like what, like $3 a month or something. It's just it's madness. But yeah.
So one thing I always preach all the time, I think everyone really does, but I think people really see it with me. People come to my house, they see my bookshelf. I've literally brought on my coaches, and people know some of my mentors. One thing I always preach all the time, people see the courses I'm in and stuff like that. I always preach all the time self-education, and I genuinely don't think I could have had gone from literally in a year's time, January 2017 making $1,200 to January 2018 making over $50,000 profit. I don't think I could have done that in a year's time if it wasn't for the fact that I spent near enough $20,000 just over on coaches, seminars, courses, books, stuff like that. So for anyone who is hearing this all the time, self-education, this, that, blah, 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 and they're hearing it said to them all the time, what's your belief in it? Do you actually think it?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Like, if honestly, self-education is the whole reason I'm here today. Like, if it wasn't for Tai Lopez and stuff, if I never found Tai Lopez, right, I would not be here today. Now, I know so many people give him so much crap about all this other stuff. He's a genius, right? So many people. I remember he said a quote about people give him loads of stick about showing off his Lambo and stuff. But he said, if it takes the Lambo to get you to read a book to then change your life, is it worth it? And of course it is. For me, self-education has been the most important thing. More important than anything. More important than absolutely anything, because you could go and do it yourself, and then trial and error and trial and error and trial and error, and then make mistakes, lose money, and it could take you 9 months to get there if you did it yourself. Or you could literally pay someone maybe £100 an hour for a coaching call, or join a mentorship program, or buy a course for $200-300 and learn all of that information in the space of a week, and then you can run with it. There's honestly nothing better that you could do with your money. So many people, they'll go on a night out and they'll spend £50-100 on drinks and getting a table and all stuff like that. And you know what, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But at the same time, you could spend that same money on paying for an hour of someone's time, 2 hours of someone's time, buying an ebook, buying for £100 you could buy you could go on Audible and get 6 or 7 books, and books that could change your life. I honestly think if you've only got, because a lot of businesses nowadays as well, there's not startup costs within them. With a personal brand, you don't need a startup cost. Social media marketing, you don't have a startup cost. But you could invest, just say you've got £200 in the bank, invest £200 in 2 hours coaching with someone, because then you can learn from them, and if you implement what you learn, you're only going to make your money back. For me, it's just it's a no-brainer. And if you're not doing it already, start investing in yourselves, because I'd probably still be working at Co-op today, stacking shelves, still miserable, if I never bought my first book, or hopped on coaching with people and things like that. So I could not recommend it more to anyone.
Mm-hmm. And after looking at 2017 and what happened in 2017 and the whole online space, business space, moving forward into 2018, who do you think are going to be the winners and losers in terms of their characteristics or things they're focusing on, or even things like different financial vehicles, stuff like that?
I think the losers are going to be people who think that just because they're working hard, they're going to win. Like, hard work's very important. Don't get me wrong. Like, there is a time and place for hard work, and if you're working hard and smart, then fantastic. But so many people think that just because they're, like, I always call it like website mentality, like especially with like social media marketing, people think they've got to set up their website before they have a client. Like, you don't. I've got close to 20 clients now, and I don't even have a website for my agency. Like, people create these excuses to be busy in order to prevent them doing what scares them, like the client acquisition side of things. So I think the losers are the people who are hustling and grinding, going to bed at 3 a.m., waking up at 7 a.m. and really grinding hard, but then just doing pointless stuff and not actually executing on what's important. So for me, I think smart work without a doubt outweighs it. You need to make sure, like for me, and for example, for my business, like I said, I get clients a lot differently. My application, like basically I apply for jobs on freelance websites and they reply to me. Now that's the most important thing in my social media agency. It takes me 30 to 60 minutes a day. There's no, I can't do any more than that. It takes me 30 to 60 minutes. Now I could spend 18 hours a day trying to do other things, but what's the point? Because that 30 to 60 minutes is going to get me the biggest return. So just be smart with your time. Don't hustle for the sake of it. If you focus what's important and focus on client acquisition, income producing activities, you're only going to find success. And if you want to work hard as well, then work hard and smart, but don't just work hard.
And what about the winners? What's something that you think? What's a characteristic or something that you think every single person who's going to crush in this space in 2018? What should they focus on, or what are they focusing on?
Well, one thing we sort of covered is self-investment. If you're not investing in yourself continuously, then you're always behind your competition because someone else has invested in it. Someone else has bought that course. Someone else has paid for that coaching, and they're going to get ahead of you. Now, if you have no money, that's fine. There's things you can do. There's loads of stuff you can get online, like free downloads, YouTube videos. But invest in yourself. But also, I'm sure you've been guilty of it. I definitely have. When you spend too much time learning, so you want to learn, but you also want to make sure you execute on the things you learn. And so invest in yourself and then take what you learn and actually take action upon it. Like, there's no point in, if you want to have a successful social media agency, invest in a social media marketing course and then execute. If you want to find success in drop shipping, go and find someone who offers coaching for drop shipping, or Amazon FBA, go and find a coach for that. Save up your money, invest in yourself doing it that way, and then execute on what you learn. That's what the winners will be doing this year.
Okay, so look, if in 30 seconds you could kind of sum up Brad Riley and what Brad Riley stands for.
Yeah, sure. So for me, passive income, that's one of them. Anything that produces passive income, any sort of part of my life that I can automate. I'm not about working hard anymore. I want a nice, relaxed life. I'm a massive guy with my friends. I love my family so much. I love traveling, and I just want to help as many people as possible. Like, my biggest goal now, is focusing more on my personal brand, and just literally, I just want to help so many people. Like, that's me in a nutshell.
All right. Well, yeah, dude, do you have any last sort of like tips, pointers to leave them with? Anything that, as I said, imagine you were watching this interview a year ago, something that you'd want to scream to yourself a year ago.
Yeah. For me, it would realize that it's actually possible, because from as young as I can remember, I always used to be I used to look at the nice house, or I used to look at people living the laptop lifestyle, just traveling the world and working from anywhere. And I used to be I'd do anything to have that, but I never really thought it was obtainable. Like, some part of me thought oh, that's such a cool lifestyle, but I'll never have it. And, I grew up with a family where the only way to ever have a nice house is to win the lottery. So for me, it was just I always saw this lifestyle, but never really thought I could have it. So one tip is if you work towards it and you focus on important things, you learn from mentors, you're good with your time, and you do business the right way, and you help people, and you're of service. If you offer client services, your work's good. If you're in personal branding, you generally care about helping people. then, you can reach your goals. It's not, for me, like 12 months ago, I was earning somewhere over here in the box over there. I had to request my earnings last year from Co-op to for my accountant, and in 5 months I earned just under £4,000, and then 12 months later it's it all changed. So whatever you want, it is obtainable. It's really not that far away, as long as you work smart, work hard, and and invest in yourself.
All right, guys. So there you have it. Brad Riley, one of probably like my favorite mentorship students. Like just it's so cool for me to see literally what's happened, in our work in 90 days, and then sort of the 30 days after that, how he's taken that and run with it. Everything from the social media marketing agency to the personal brand, like everything he followed to a T. And there he is. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and leave his YouTube. YouTube, do you want Instagram as well?
Yeah, whatever, man.
Okay.
Whatever,
YouTube,
whatever
Instagram, and then I'll also leave a link to his course. It's a social media marketing course. He has, as I said, just a very, very different approach. Me, I go high end. I have sort of the agency model. He is pretty much just like a freelancer on steroids. But hey, like it works, 12, 13K this month, or 15K in dollars. So like, I mean, it works, and there's so many different ways you can go about it. So yeah, dude, thanks for coming on and giving us some of your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, see you guys.